The German 2cm Flak 30 and improved Flak 38. These were the most produced German light anti-aircraft guns and German artillery pieces during World War II. Hundreds of these guns remain in collections around the world, and they show up in a significant number of war movies, and even some science fiction. So let's take a look at this prolific anti-aircraft gun and some of the movies it's featured in.
Nochmal! Weiter!
The word flak in the English world is more closely associated with anti-aircraft fire rather than anti-aircraft guns. However, the word flak is short for a German term, Flugzeugabwehrkanone, which in English translates as aircraft defense cannon. In German, flak refers to the actual anti-aircraft gun itself. During World War II, Germany had a flexible doctrine for anti-aircraft guns. Anti-aircraft guns were to be used both as anti-aircraft pieces and in ground support roles. This was no exception for the Flak 38, which did see significant use against lightly armored vehicles and infantry. The Flak 38 made part of a tiered system of anti-aircraft defense. The Flak 38 covered low-flying aircraft with an effective firing range of 2,200 meters. As such, it was primarily used against dive bombers, fighter aircraft, or aircraft carrying paratroopers. Many heavy bombers, however, if believing a target was unprotected by significant anti-aircraft fire, may drop their bomb load at a lower altitude for better accuracy, sometimes falling in range of smaller flak. And Flak 38s did score hits on aircraft such as the B-17. The mobility of small towable flak guns meant they could be deployed quickly and easily camouflaged.
Tail is on fire, sir! Pilot crew, get rid of the bailout.
These smaller flak guns were of significant danger to paratroopers, particularly when quad-mounted. The quad-mounted Flak 38 was referred to as the Flakverling 38.
Wait until they reload.
A World War II paratrooper dropping from a C-47 ideally did so at a slow speed of around 160 kilometers an hour and at a low 210 meters, well within the range of the Flak 38. During D-Day, C-47s dropping paratroopers faced horrific flak, which resulted in both casualties as well as scattered drop zones. C-47s dodging flak were forced to adjust course and altitude. Paratroopers were hurriedly and dangerously dropped anywhere between 90 and 600 meters. Band of Brothers shows the effect flak had on low-flying C-47s. Though the 2cm Flak were the most prolific anti-aircraft guns used by the German Wehrmacht, they were not effective on their own. Germany used an extensive array of anti-aircraft guns, suitable for high and low altitude aircraft, including their excellent general-purpose machine guns. The most famous flak was undoubtedly the 8.8 cm. Just like the 2cm Flak 38, it was a weapon used in a dynamic role, like all German anti-aircraft guns. Over 21,000 8.8 cm flak guns in all variants were produced during the war. Over 150,000 2cm Flak 30 and 38s in all their variants were produced. Germany would further use numerous captured anti-aircraft guns from the British, French, and virtually all occupied nations. They also designed and produced a whole host of different caliber anti-aircraft weapons, which further became more and more relied on mid and late war, used against relentless Allied air power in the West, and as an anti-tank weapon against Russian armor in the East. Germany also developed new and unusual concepts to counter Allied air power. These included flak rockets, surface-to-air missiles, and handheld devices such as the Fliegerfaust. Giant flak towers using conventional anti-aircraft weapons were also built, as indestructible fortresses of concrete and steel. The 2cm flak was originally developed for the Kriegsmarine, and you can see it mounted on virtually every U-boat featured in a World War II movie. The Army adapted this gun to be easily trailered and set up on a triangular base, permitting fire in all directions. However, the Army, much like the Navy, was unsatisfied with the rate of fire, and Rheinmetall turned the Flak 30 into the Flak 38 by increasing the rate of fire and lightening the weapon. A further reduced weight version was also developed, with a simplified mount for airborne and mountain troops. It otherwise remained largely unchanged. The majority of 2cm flak guns you'll see on film are Flak 38s. However, the Flak 38 still did not fire a large enough round or have the necessary rate of fire to remain effective beyond the first years of the war. By mid-war, Germany was facing more and more advanced aircraft like the robust P-47 and fast Mosquito. The Army largely favored 3.7cm flak or larger calibers when engaging aircraft. It simply took too many shells from a 2cm flak to disable an aircraft, and the weapon's practical rate of fire was not significantly greater.
Ja, so verkrampft, kann mit seinen Arschbacken Nüsse knacken. Na.
However, this did lead to the Flakverling 38, the famous quad-mounted 2cm flak. This extended the life and material value of a weapon that was becoming obsolete. This was a particularly valuable addition to undergunned U-boats that were increasingly being hunted from the air.
Mann auf Brücke! Jawohl!
Flakverling 38s were also mounted on different chassis with varying success, for both ground assault and anti-air purposes. Single Flak 38s also saw some limited use mounted on vehicles. Flak 38s were loaded by magazines holding 20 rounds. This is often done correctly on film, though you can occasionally see a flak operating without a magazine. Technically, the weapon can be operated by just one man who controls the up and down and left or right using a wheel in each hand, while being able to fire using a foot pedal. However, with only 20 rounds in the magazine and a cyclic rate of fire of 450 rounds a minute, a man to load the gun is essential. The small 20-round magazines were considered a weakness in the gun's operation. This weakness was not addressed in the Flakverling, where each individual gun still relied on a separate 20-round magazine. The weapon did, however, have a quick process for changing the barrels when overheated. Ammunition for the Flak 38 varied greatly, including tungsten armored-piercing rounds and high-explosive fragmentation, deadly to aircraft crew and infantry in the direct-fire role. There are many movie examples of how deadly flak can be towards infantry. In Saving Private Ryan, it's used against infantry climbing a Tiger I. This scene may seem hard to believe, as only one of these soldiers notices the Flak 38 setting up to fire at them. However, it's a perfect example of the tunnel vision soldiers can experience in high-stress situations. Extreme stress can narrow the visual field to the biggest threat, leaving other dangers overlooked. On film, the 2cm flak often shows up on trains. This was a common use for this caliber of flak, as its size was well suited for train cars, and to accurately target a train required an aircraft to fly within range of the gun. In the film Red Tails, you can see a P-40 Warhawk pilot adjust his tactics against the flak by attacking the train directly from the front. Alright, I'm Johnny. Thanks for watching this quick brief on the German 2cm flak. This is an expansive topic, and the gun had a lot of use and mixed success, so feel free to add any knowledge you might have in the comment section below, and I hope to see you in the next video.